The great theater of American politics has once again delivered a spectacle most bewildering, most enthralling, and in all honesty, most vexingly absurd.
Senator said at this meeting that he is going to vote for cloture. He is going to vote to allow there to be a simple majority vote. You think that's wrong?
I believe that's a tremendous mistake. Yes.
Why?
I think, well, first and foremost, the American people, if anyone has held a town hall or has seen what has been happening in town halls, American people, whether they are Republicans, independents, Democrats, are up in arms about Elon Musk and the actual gutting of federal agencies across the board. This continuing resolution codifies much of this chaos that Elon Musk is wreaking havoc on the federal government. It codifies many of those changes. It sacrifices and completely eliminates congressional authority in order to review these impulsive Trump tariffs that he's switching on and off. And on top of that, for folks who are concerned about effectiveness in government, this Republican extreme spending bill removes all of the guardrails and all of the accountability measures to ensure that money is being spent in the way that Congress has directed for it to be spent. This turns the federal government into a slush fund for Donald Trump and Elon Musk. It sacrifices congressional authority, and it is deeply partisan. And so to me...
What an unbelievably all-encompassing and balanced answer, right? Do we support the continuing resolution? The first thing she does is she references two real events right now going on. One is Republicans being unable to host town halls because their constituents are so upset about them that they're just like, okay, no more of this. Okay, you guys are making too much noise. And then she references the fact that right now popularity of Elon Musk is down. Okay, so Republicans aren't listening to you, and you guys hate Elon Musk. What is the continuing resolution going to do? It's going to make permanent a lot of the things that Elon Musk did to the government that are polling so unpopularly right now. That's a good reason in terms of optics and in terms of like popular appeal to oppose supporting the continuing resolution, right? She points to actual legislative things, this ability to turn on and off the tariffs. The tariffs are, if they're not already playing into the American mind, which they probably are, because these are huge news stories, I imagine, when you see the markets go down, right? They're definitely going to, as prices on things begin to increase, or if you're in an industry that's affected, you've already seen it, right?
Or that money is being spent in the way that Congress has directed for it to be spent.
And then the last part is just a legal appeal of how the government should work. Nobody gives a fuck this, but I like it. I appreciate it. I think it's good. I think there's a very good answer and a very good reason to oppose the continuing resolution.
This turns the federal government into a slush fund for Donald Trump and Elon Musk. It sacrifices congressional authority, and it is deeply partisan. And so to me, it is almost unthinkable why
the fuck you vote for this?
Would vote to hand the few pieces of leverage that we have away for free when we've...
And here, listen, I don't know anything about, okay? So this actually might be an IRI question, okay? If you guys brigade his stream, you can ask him, okay? I'm going to say this, and I actually think it's a bad idea. I don't know if AOC could even do this. I don't know if her career would survive this. I feel like AOC should... I think AOC should go back to fighting Democrats for leadership positions or like heart of the party, because I think there needs to be taking opposition to Schumer and I guess ostensibly the rest of Democratic leadership here. I feel like she has a better handle and future than these guys who are, no offense, 97 years old. I think she should. I don't even know what it would look like inside Congress. Like, she already got out of that chair by Pelosi. Well, I guess it's understandably still acting from a long time ago, but hey, that's politics, right? I think AOC should start to try to like shore up like power in Congress. I think with other Democrats. I don't know if she could even do that, or if that would be like career suicide or something. But I don't know. I would like to see it.
Been sent here to protect Medicaid and protect Medicare.
You have.
Enter stage left Destiny, streamer, political commentator, and newfound orator of the liberal ethos, delivering what one might describe as a florid bouquet of praise for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, an individual who, by all conventional measures, should be a darling of the progressive vanguard, but remains, curiously, an entity of discord within her own party. And what is the occasion for such adulation? A rather impassioned critique of the Democratic leadership's capitulation to the Republican-controlled Congress, and, by extension, to the most ostentatiously chaotic administration in modern history, the second coming of Trump. Let us examine, in painstaking detail, the precise nature of this affair, yet finds himself utterly flabbergasted at the capacity of politicians to repeatedly and with great enthusiasm punch themselves squarely in the face. First, the matter at hand, the continuing resolution. A most unassuming term, one that might lull the unsuspecting citizen into a false sense of bureaucratic security, as though it were but a humble administrative function, a mere footnote in the great ledger of governance. But no, it is in fact a grand codification of chaos, a formal enshrinement of disorder, and, if we are to believe the noble words of AOC herself, an abject surrender to the whims of Elon Musk and Donald Trump, those twin titans of unfettered ambition, standing astride the halls of power like colossi of bewilderment. AOC, in her critique, speaks of town halls ablaze with the fury of the American populace, Republicans and Democrats alike united in an unexpected symphony of outrage, an anomalous moment of bipartisan agreement that, curiously, centers around their mutual disdain for Elon Musk. The man, once heralded as the Promethean figure of technological progress, now stands as a villainous architect of bureaucratic ruin. And this resolution, this legislative monstrosity, seeks to cement his influence in ways both overt and insidious. For you see, my dear reader, the continuing resolution is not merely an agreement to keep the lights on in Washington. It is a surreptitious relinquishing of congressional authority. It grants Trump unfathomable discretion, turning the federal government into a veritable slush fund for his personal whims. It permits the unchecked application of tariffs, those economic cudgels wielded with the subtlety of a sledgehammer against a crystal chandelier. And most egregiously, it signals a democratic leadership so weakened, so devoid of strategic acumen, that it willingly discards the few bargaining chips still left within its trembling grasp. It is here that Destiny, the unlikely protagonist of our tale, finds himself struck with what can only be described as cognitive dissonance. A liberal praising a progressive. Is it not the case that such individuals have spent the better part of the last decade engaged in a ceaseless war of attrition, tearing at one another with the fervor of medieval house feuds? And yet, here he is, marveling at AOC's rhetorical dexterity, her ability to weave together popular sentiment, legislative mechanics, and the broader optics of the political landscape into a singularly compelling argument. One imagines Destiny staring at his screen, eyes widened in incredulity as he exclaims, "My God, she's making sense!" As though he had just witnessed a fish compose a sonnet or a cat deliver an oration on metaphysics. And indeed, it is a most curious development. For years, the discourse has been one of internecine squabbling, the liberal center decrying the progressive left as a rabble of ideologues, while the latter bemoans the former as a gaggle of ineffectual compromisers. But now, faced with the sheer inanity of democratic capitulation, Destiny sees in AOC something he had perhaps not anticipated. An opposition figure who understands the gravity of the moment, who recognizes that this is not the hour for conciliation, but for defiance. And what of Chuck Schumer, the ostensible leader of the Senate Democrats? A man who, one assumes, must possess some measure of strategic insight, yet who here appears as a figure tragically out of step with the reality before him. One cannot help but picture him as a weary general, gazing over the battlefield, his forces decimated, and yet, with an unshakable commitment to routine, ordering his troops to advance into the abyss once more. Alexandria, in her unrelenting critique, highlights the absurdity of Schumer's decision to back the resolution. To surrender leverage at a time when leverage is the only thing separating the Democratic Party from complete legislative irrelevance is an act of political negligence so profound it borders on self-sabotage. And yet, Schumer marches forth, content to abide by the customs of an era when bipartisanship still held meaning, an era long since devoured by the voracious appetite of Trumpian politics. It is here that Destiny, in a moment of rare prescience, suggests that perhaps AOC should turn her attention toward the battle within her own party. That she should, as it were, set her sights on the leadership itself. For if Schumer and his ilk cannot grasp the stakes of the game being played, then perhaps it is time for new players to take the field. Ah, but what a treacherous path that would be! For to challenge the entrenched order is to invite the wrath of the establishment, to risk exile from the inner sanctums of power, to endure the slings and arrows of a media apparatus all too eager to paint her as a reckless insurgent. And yet, is that not the very essence of what she has always represented? A figure unbound by the constraints of the old order. A politician who, despite the cynicism of the age, still believes in the transformative potential of governance. And so we find ourselves at a most intriguing juncture. AOC, the firebrand progressive, standing at the precipice of a grand political gambit. Destiny, the liberal commentator, caught in the throes of unexpected admiration. Schumer, the beleaguered old guard, marching steadfastly toward irrelevance. And Trump, the omnipresent specter, wielding the machinery of state with gleeful abandon. What shall come of this confluence of events? Will AOC heed the call to challenge the Democratic leadership? Will Destiny's moment of clarity be but a fleeting epiphany, lost amidst the endless tumult of online discourse? And will Schumer, in a fit of unexpected lucidity, recognize the folly of his ways? Only time shall tell. But for now, let us bask in the sheer, unrelenting absurdity of it all.